So I'm going to go ahead and pull in the router. We can pull that in from Next.js. And then I'm also going to need, let's go ahead and start building it out right now, okay? So what we're going to do is we have a header, right? So let's look at the main one. And here you see we have a header, right? So this header is the first thing that we're going to be building. So the header, remember, we have the container. I'm going to go ahead and say header. And this is why I really do like styled components, because it does make the overall workflow quite easy to follow, okay? So styled div, thank you tab9 for always coming in clutch. And if I go ahead and hit save now, we should see that it disappears because we have no actual context there or any data there. But here we have an avatar, a P, like a H3, maybe a P tag, and then 2 icons over here. So we're going to build that bit right now, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if there was a recipient, right? And remember, we did this logic earlier, so I'm going to go ahead and show you that how we do that in a sec. But basically, I'm going to have an avatar here. So I'm going to say avatar, like so. I need to import the avatar. Okay. So we're going to have the avatar over here. And then I'm going to have the header information. Now, the information is going to represent a div around this stuff. Okay. So over here, I'm going to say header information. So here, header, header information. Right, like so. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit save, and we're going to go ahead and do const like so, and we're going to do this, and it's going to be styled div, and hit save. There we go. And then failed to get document into client is offline. Interesting. All right, now let's double check what's happening here. If I go ahead and restart my server, you're on dev, and let's see what's happening here. And then if we refresh, so while that's happening, what we can do is for header information, we can go ahead and pop in this one. There we go. Strange error. If you get that, just do what I just did. There we go. Okay, we got the header information, which is a div. Always freaks me out, honestly. 1.3k likes. We're almost at 1.4, guys. Come on, smash that thumbs up button if you hadn't already, and let's keep this energy high. Right, H3. So here I'm going to have the recipient's email. Okay, so this is going to be the recipient email. Okay, that'll be help if I'm always spelling that correct. There we go. Oh my god, let's just say rec email, right? So there you go. You got the recipient email, and then you've got the last active. Okay, so the last active is going to be something a little bit more interesting, right? So we're going to actually do some kind of more complicated stuff around that, right? So here I'm going to say P, and then I'm going to have something like a last scene right? So we'll go ahead and, you know, fill that out in a sec. And then the final thing is I want the header icons, right? So I'm going to make a div around the header icons, like so, like this. And then I'm going to go here down to here, and I'm going to say const header icons equals a style div, like so. Okay, now inside of the header icons, remember icon button gives us this wicked, like you know, clickable floaty sort of look on top of our buttons. So we need 2 buttons. We need the attach file icon and a more vertical button icon. So these 2 buttons, right? And then we surround them in that icon button to get that nice clickable effect. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and do the appropriate imports. So I need 2 different things here. I need the more vertical icon button, and I need the attach file one over here. There we go. And inside of our header icons, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have an icon button for each, wrapping it. So I'm going to have icon button like so, right? And then let's go ahead and do this. And oh god, guys, come on, give it a break. Right, so here we're going to say owner, where is it, icon button, like this, and then I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then pop it in here, oops, okay, and then what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and say, for the icon button, I'm going to basically go ahead and do, the first one is going to be attach file icon, right, so attach file icon, like this, and then the second one is going to be for the more vertical button icon, okay? This will be more vert icon, okay? So we're gonna do this. Now I will quickly go ahead and clean that one up. Let's go ahead and drop that out. Where is it? Oh, interesting. Where is it? This one is. Guys, come on, keep it clean, please. Like, it's hard to already do a live, you know, let alone this. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and refresh. There we go. Nice. And oh, we'll get rid of it. I didn't delete it. There we go. Start delete. Nice. There we go. Easy as. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and style this out, okay? So for the down here, I'm going to go ahead and say for the header we're going to start styling this bit first. Now the header is going to be position sticky because we do want to have, you know, the top elements stick to the top of the page, right? So style div at this point is going to be, Ayman says, I learned a lot from you. Thank you, dude, for turning up, right? Position sticky, right? And then I'm going to say background color of white. So background color of white. Oops, background color of white. Then I'm going to go ahead and say a Z index of 100 because I just want to be 100% absolutely sure that it doesn't, you know, like mess me up when I'm trying to like show it over or something. And I'm going to say top 0 to allow it to stick with this, to allow it to stick to the top with position sticky. Then I want the display flex because I want everything inside of it to be padded. Okay, padding is 11 pixels as well, so display flex and the padding of 11 pixels. Everything now goes into a line because by default your flex direction is a row. The height is going to be 80 pixels. I'm going to align the item centrally and I'm going to give it a border bottom 1 pixel solid white smoke. There you go, very nice. Okay, let's carry on. So Hugo Tech says, kudos bro, you're changing lives, lots of lives here in Nigeria. Thank you so much, man. Honestly, like I really am glad to hear that. Right. The next thing is header information. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and say a margin left of 15 pixels. All right, so margin left of 15 pixels like that. It'll push it away a little bit. And I'm going to say flex of 1 because I want this header information to take up the majority of space, which will push these buttons to the right. Okay, so that's really nice when we do it that way. Yes, the GitHub repo comes with Papa Platinum. I recommend if you want to join the Papa fam, 0 to Full Stack Hero, link in the description. Join Papa Platinum. It is the golden package. All right, so it's honestly the best thing you can get. All right, so at this point, I'm going to target the H3 inside and the P tag. So how we can do that is in styled components. It's so easy. We can just say H3, and then we can go ahead and say margin bottom of 3 pixels like so. All right, so you can see it's a very slight adjustment I did. The small things that make it look the final piece, right? And I'm gonna say the P tag is gonna be a font size of 14. So let's go ahead and say font size of 14. Thank you, tab 9. And I'm gonna say color is gray. All my completions today have been tab 9. They've been in clutch, right? So it's really helping us out. Right, so I don't know why this is happening. But if that happens, it's probably because I'm live right now, to be fair. Because the client is offline. Interesting, okay. So it's probably because we got quite a lot of traffic going to it. But the next thing you want to do is we're going to go over to let's go to the top. We now have the header sort of set a bit, right? We have the header pretty much as we wanted it. So the next thing we want to do is kind of move over to the body. So we're going to call this the message container, okay? So in here, we're going to go ahead and say message container, like so, okay? Now here, we're going to have a function for showing the messages. So here I'll say something like show messages as a function. And then I'm also going to have an end of message, right? End of message, right? Now this is an interesting one. This end of message is just going to be a div at the end of the messages. If you've ever done auto scrolling, you'll know what I'm about to do there afterwards, okay? So this is going to be something for later. It's going to be a style div, which is going to be pretty much empty, but it allows us to target the end of the messages so that we can auto scroll to the bottom of the page when we type something in. For example, if I'm here and I type in test, and let's go ahead and say like I typed in hello world, notice how it scrolls to the bottom, right? That's because we've got that little trick in place. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that, right? Thank you, Libna. Any plan for a MERN project? Not at the moment, but it depends on demand. Like Next.js was demand, so I moved towards it, okay? Now let's continue on. So we've got this happening. Message container is not defined, so we're going to create message container. That's a simple div. So here I can say const message container equals style div like so, and you can see this will now pop up, okay? Wait for it. At some point it'll pop up. Okay, so there you go. And then you've got, this is starting to look a lot more along these lines, okay? Now over at this point, we had a P tag which said last active, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm gonna basically go ahead, Just Take Sing, thank you so much, dude. What's up? $5 Canadian dollar donation. Yo, this is awesome, sounding late to the build. Excited to learn Next.js. Coffee's on me, bro. Thank you, dude. Always appreciate that. Ownerify NFT app stores, guys, dude, give them 0 stars at this point if you're just gonna spam. But please don't do that, okay? But at this point, what we should do is we're gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna clean that out. Okay. Thank you so much, Justek. That's incredible, dude. So we're gonna go ahead and do this. Right, so let's carry on. So we're gonna go ahead and we've got this last scene over here. Now for the H3, the margin bottom was 3 pixels. There we go. And then I'm gonna go ahead and Hashrada says, Sunny, you're on fire. Thank you so much. So where we have the show messages, okay, this is going to be an interesting one. So this is where the magic kind of is going to happen, okay. So show messages is actually a very powerful function, and what it's going to do is first it's going to show you the data that comes through from server-side render, which means that immediately when you land on the page, you're going to see some chat, right? But then what we want to do is we want to make a real-time connection on the client to Firestore, so that way we have the real-time feedback. The minute that's available, because the keys are the same on the chat list, it swaps. So we have the server-side rendered content initially, and then it swaps for the real-time content, which means that when we start chatting further on, you're going to see a real-time feedback, which means that you get the benefit of when you come onto the page and not having to wait for a bit of chat to be seen. And then when you immediately start chatting with someone, you're going to get the real-time functionality of it. So best of both worlds, server-side rendering and client-side at its finest. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to take a quick water break. Wow. My notes and coffee is on. This is crazy. 220, almost 3 hours. Keep proud of yourself. Thank you so much, man. And we nearly have 1,400 likes, so please smash that thumbs up button. We still have a little bit left, guys, so come on, get your coffee, get your energy up. We're gonna keep on going until we absolutely destroy this stream, okay? So let's keep on going. Right, now for this chat screen, right, so what I'm gonna do is for the show messages at the top, I'm gonna say const show messages. And this is going to be an anonymous function which will simply return some data text. But in this case, what I'm going to do is actually have a little bit of logic involved in it here, okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to say I need to firstly map and get the messages, okay? So we're going to use the use collection, right? So we're going to use the use. Cesar, that actually meant a lot, dude. So thank you so much for that kind comment, because it's those little comments that are very handy when you when you start getting to this point. So that's awesome, dude. Okay, so let's go ahead and carry on. So here we've got the show messages. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and say where we've got show messages, I'm going to go ahead and do if messages snapshot like so. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and say show messages return. And then this is going to say, oh wait, sorry, I need to go up to my use collection. There we go. Use collection over here. There we go, nice. Right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do the following. So I'm going to say, where is it? Hey, my girlfriend's in the house. There you go. She texted me saying, are you done yet? And I was like, yeah. I didn't reply, but that's why. So we're going to say const messages, right? So messages snapshot, messages snapshot, right? And then equals use collection messages. So you see how good that was, right? It automatically populated for me. I sent you an iMessage and realized you're busy. Yeah, that's fine. So we can say DB. I'm going to import DB from our local Firebase, right? So I'm going to just full screen this. DB.firebase, and then we're going to say DB.collection. And this is going to go into the chats that we sort of set up earlier, right? So DB collection of chats. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the doc, and this is the interesting part, okay? So remember, the route that we're in is going to depend on the chat that we're showing, right? So in this case, we've got the chat / some ID, okay? So what we're going to do at this point is we're going to go into the root params to get that ID. So I'm going to go here, doc, and I'm going to say router.params, right? So router.params.id, right? So I'm sure it was router. No, it's not router.params, it's router.query, sorry, .id. And that will give me the route that we're currently on, okay? I gave these other 5 guys 1 star in the app store. Dude, I know, they're asking for 1 star, yeah? So at this point, what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and say .collection, right? So .collection, and I'm going to go ahead and say go into the messages, okay? For a chat, and then I'm going to order by the timestamp, okay? So order by timestamp, and then we're going to do by ascending, right? And hit save. Okay, so I'll show you guys this in a very simple nutshell. So here you go, you got the chats. It's going to go into the specific chat based on the route, go into the messages and order them by timestamp. Okay, so this will give us all the messages that we will have in a given chat. Okay, now once we have that, basically in the show messages function, I'm going to say if we have the messages snapshot. Okay, Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to return those messages. Okay, so I'm going to return the messages snapshot, right? Dot map, right? Then what we're going to do is I'm going to go into that and say message like this, and then I'm going to have an open bracket like this, and then I'm going to have the message being rendered on the screen. Okay, so each individual message is going to be its own component, because that will make the whole thing a lot more reusable, easier to go ahead and use it. Okay, so at this point I'm going to say message, okay, and then basically at this point we would pass in a bunch of props here, right? So I'm going to pass in a few things here. So I'm going to pass in the key, right? I'm going to pass in the key. And this is going to be the message.id. And we're not using the server-side rendered content yet, okay? Bear that in mind, right? We're going to be going ahead and using that in a sec. But here I'll say the user is going to be the message.data.user, and then the final thing here, so the message is basically going to be an object, right? And then the object I'm going to pass in here is going to be message.data. So we're going to spread everything from the message, and then I'm going to get the timestamp. And remember, we did that conversion, right? We did the conversion previously on the timestamp to make it sort of, you know, like a Unix from the server side rendered stuff. So I'm going to convert the stuff that comes over from Firebase from the client to Unix timestamp, so that way we have consistency regardless of where we get the data from. And then here I'll say toDate like this. And if you've done server-side rendering before, that would have made sense. But if that wasn't something that made sense, then that, you know, it's going to sort of confuse you a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and hit save, and we got the message. Now I need to create this message component, so I'm going to go over here, go into my message.js like so, and then I'm going to do _RFCE. Okay, we're moving at such a pace today, it's crazy. All right, and I'm going to do my nice little styled components tricks and stuff. So I'm going to say const container equals styled.div. Thank you, tab 9. Always speeding up my coding. And then I'm going to go ahead and import my styled components, so that way we can use it. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is inside of the message, we're going to go ahead and actually, remember I passed in a bunch of stuff, right? I passed in the user and the message, right? The user and the message. So at this point, what I want to do is I need to render that message on the screen. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is actually show the message. Now the message itself was an object. Okay, so just for now I'm going to show a p tag with the message content inside of it. Okay, so message like so. And with that said, now if I go back to the chat screen, if I go down to where it says show messages, and if I uncomment this out and say show messages like so, and I save, now what we can see is I can see this, right? So you can see pretty much if I go into Pop-up React like so, we should be able to have the messages inside of it, but we need a way of adding the messages, okay? Oh my God, guys, chill, honestly, with that. Right, I'm gonna actually take something down in a sec, so that way you guys can't keep adding to the database, right? So in order to prevent that, I'll show you how to do that, right? So with Firebase rules, you can make this very simple. You can go ahead and do edit rules. And I'm just going to stop the reader write until I need to go ahead and mess it, right? Allow reader write false. There you go. Kill the fun for everyone, right? So that's actually not a way. It would be allow. It's not this one. It's not if. We'll say if. Let's just say if false right now. I think that should force it as a lazy way of doing it, right? So we're going to go ahead and do that. So now we should get more of that headache until I go ahead and fix it. Block someone out. That's annoying, guys. Don't do that. Oh, God's sake. Right. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and do this. And we're going to go ahead and do the following. Okay, so we've got this. And I'm going to go into my chats. And we have this. Okay, so we've got the users, so forth. Okay. Oh, guys, come on. Right, so we have this. Yeah, it's super annoying, man. It's really, really annoying, like when we get this sort of stuff, you know. So the users right now, I'm gonna go ahead and just do this. We don't actually have that here. The messages was where we were getting it, but I'm gonna go ahead and quickly clean this out, okay? So, oh my God. Ownify Nick, wow. It's not really hacked, dude. It's just kind of some stupid shit, you know? But I'm gonna go ahead and delete some messages. There we go.